A very good morning to our supervisor, Dr. Ng Li Peng, and the second examiners. First and foremost, I would like to start off by thanking our supervisor and the second examiners for viewing our video presentation. Before we begin, let me introduce myself briefly. My name is Ho Hao Yan Alex, and I am the leader of Group 16 as well. For my members will be Li Pei Yi, Ong Zi Hao, Wesley Ngo Fok Cheng, and Yap Ching Wen. And our FYP topic is Determinants of Academic Stress among the undergraduate students in a private university in Malaysia. Without further ado, I would like to begin with Chapter 1.1 Research Background. According to Rady et al. 2018, the variety of internal and external expectations made stress one of the main components of student university life. However, many persons believe that stress has the least effect on the number of students. It is not shocking that the undergraduates sometimes may face stresses in their studies and life while facing different kinds of challenges. Undergraduates must attain certain level of academic achievement in order to graduate. Moreover, global mental illness has grown. This statement is adapted from Whiteford et al. 2013. There is also an upward trend in North America. According to research by the Suicide Prevention Resource Center SPRC 2013, the dominant causes of death among the American college students is commit suicide. Furthermore, stress and depression are the main suicide risk factors. This statement is adopted from Wagnis et al. 2015. There are also the claims about the 800,000 people are dying from suicide each year, which is one person dies every 40 seconds. This statement is taken from WHO 2020. As shown in figure 1.1, the teenagers who committed suicide in global had ranged between the ages of 15 to 29. Besides that, as you can see in figure 1.2, the suicidal rate for the 12 months ending in July 2017 is 4.7 deaths per 100,000 students. According to this report, 83,000 of suicide, which is 1,109 deaths, were undergraduates, while the balance was postgraduate students, which is 221 deaths. Furthermore, the common causes of death are inferiority, pressure to obey the society, and high expectations of parents in the studies. Besides that, Rambi et al. 2018, Ramachandran and Tanapal argue that studies have shown that many students in Malaysia suffer from academic stress. As reported in Private University Reviews 2019, the two pupils of Malaysia's largest and most prestigious private university committed suicide within 1 week. The two cases occurred on May 6 and May 14 respectively. Guan 2017 claimed that a suicidal case happened in Setapak due to the melancholy student not dealing with the pressure that related to her study and life. In a nutshell, the above discussion had shown that the academic stress is one of the problems of the future negative consequences that the educational sector should reduce. And next, I would like to continue with Chapter 1.2 Problem Statement. Stress has many changes or causes, including work or school, life events, changes, or unrealistic expectations. However, stress issues remain critical in academia and society today. And yet, this research will be our priority and current undergoing FYP research, which is to determine the academic stress among the undergraduates in a Malaysia private university. Without any hesitation, I had highlighted 7 main problems from this chapter 1.2 problem statement. Firstly is the rising mental health and the suicidal cases among the young people provided an alarming signs of stress to the student. This statement, which is taken from WHO 2020. It is a particular worrying as an evidence of university students increasingly suffer from academic stress reported by the several researchers, which is Baidane 2013, Ramli et al. 2018. As reported by Shah 2018, over 500 suicides have occurred in Malaysia from 2014 to 2018. In Seremban, a suicidal case happened because the melancholy student had high pressure related to their study, and this statement is adapted from Fong 2018, which is from New Straits Times as well. Furthermore, there was a study compared the stress level among the private university students and public university students. However, this research showed that the students at private university experience stress higher than the public university. This statement is in light of Nasli et al. 2019 and Prabhu 2015. Thirdly is the stress of undergraduates will have a long-term impact on the country. As claimed by Prabhu 2015, it is due to the students are the backbone of the future and they have a responsibility to advance the nation's prospect. Based on Huda and David 2017, students are assets of any country. Nevertheless, many universities have not underlined and not implemented any remedial actions to cope with the academic stress issues. Fourthly is, in light of Jakova et al. 2005, researchers should emphasize academic self-efficacy instead of generalized self-efficacy, as a high sense of academic self-efficacy had found in the college students. This implies that they may invest extra effort to their study. Although this research has been investigated in academic self-efficacy and academic stress, but research on both factors for undergraduates in Malaysia still lacks as before. Fifthly is procrastination directly affects students' academic performance and adversely affects students and causes academic stress. Procrastination is the determinant of academic stress, which remains critical in the study. Sixthly is research on various viewpoints on academic expectation is limited. For instance, self-expectations, parents, and lecturers' expectation in one study. There are claims that academic expectations are related to academic stress. Parental expectations could directly affect the academic stress as well. And Sada 2018 stated that parents' expectation could put pressure on the students. As a way to wrap this up, the adverse impact of undergraduates' academic stress has successfully attracted awareness of people. So far, many research regards academic stress have been carried on in other countries, for instance, United States, Hong Kong, India, and some countries as well. There are only few studies explicitly on the academic stress issue of Malaysian background. In light of Baidane 2013, Reddy et al. 2018, many previous studies have evaluated parents' problems, monetary problems, unfortunate events, and main life changes are causes for the academic stress of university students. Therefore, this has drawn people's consciousness to this research to study the main factors of academic stress among the Malaysia private university students. For instance, the factors will be academic self-efficacy, procrastination, and academic expectations. And now I will continue with 1.3 research objective. The research objective of our FIP research will be to identify the factors of affecting the academic stress among the undergraduate students in a private university in Malaysia. For specific research objective, is to determine the influence of these 3 IV, which is academic self-efficacy, procrastination, academic expectations, on academic stress among the undergraduate students in a private university in Malaysia. For our 1.4 research questions, the research questions will be: does these 3 IV, which is academic self-efficacy, procrastination, academic expectations, have a significant influence on the academic stress among the undergraduate students in a private university in Malaysia? For the hypothesis of study, the 3 IV of this research is academic self-efficacy and procrastination, and academic expectation has a significant influence on the academic stress among the undergraduate students in a private university in Malaysia. The special of this H3 is we will have 2 categories of H3A and H3B, which is expectation of self has a significant influence of academic stress among undergraduate students in a private university in Malaysia. For H3B will be expectation of parents or lecturers have a significant influence of academic stress among undergraduate students in a private university in Malaysia. That's all of my part, and now I will pass to Wesley to continue the significance of study. Thank you.
Good morning to total and second examiners. My name is Wesley. Now, I will begin with significance of study. There are 3 perspectives in significance of study. The first perspective is student. They will face academic problems that are caused by psychological issues in this modern society. Through this research, students can know the importance of academic stress and its determinants. Also, by understanding the cause of their stress, they may find some best solutions. Reducing stress can help students achieve better academic performance. The following point is university perspective. This research may offer comprehensions of determinants of academic stress to educational industry. University teachers, consulting departments, and management will have a better understanding of academic stress by figuring out the determinants of academic stress. Third, government is interested in the result of this study because it is possible to know how to cope with academic stress of Malaysian university students. Government may come up with solutions to cope with academic stress of university students. For example, education policies and measures are needed to reduce academic stress. Next, I will continue with the first part of chapter 2, which is underlying theory. The first is social cognitive theory. Researchers define it as outcome expectation, self-regulated learning, and self-efficacy belief. According to Budget 2002, academic self-efficacy is an essential factor for student achievement because self-efficacy affects student choices and action. According to Bandura 1997, academic self-efficacy also related to an individual belief that they can achieve academic goals and complete the assigned academic tasks successfully. In social cognitive theory, self-efficacy is the most effective way to measure the person for the academic outcome because it's focused on the task competency, self-efficacy, and grades. Also, social cognitive theory explains the individual with high sense of self-efficacy will have high confidence in approaching a difficult task, they're able to set challenging goals, able to control threatening situations with assurance, and they have substantial personal accomplishments, high stress management, and low vulnerability to depressions. Next, social cognitive theory can be explained by the model of triadic reciprocal causations. There are 3 components which are personal, behavioral, and environmental determinants. These 3 components act as the interacting determinants that influence each other in a two-way direction. For example, a person with a strong academic self-efficacy belief, his or her behavioral action will lead them to complete a difficult task. The following underlying theory is conservation of resources theory, which also can call as UTAR theory. According to Hoffer 1989, UTAR theory explains to people how to retain, remain, protect, and build resources and what threatens to the people, which is the potential loss of these valued resources. In this theory, individuals are trying to reduce the net loss of resources as they encounter with stress. Stress or tension emerge when the resources are threatened or fail to obtain the new resources. These resources are essential due to they have instrumental value to people. According to Terms and Agreements 2019, this theory not only emphasizes the risk of resource loss, but it also mentioned that the critical life event also cause stress. COR theory can be explained to determine the effect of life change on stress level. In this theory, people are more stressed and affected by resource loss than resource gain. The last underlying theory is Lasala's cognitive appraisal theory. According to Lazarus and Fogman, 1984, cognitive appraisal theory is defined as stress is rated as imbalance between the individual demands and the individual resources. Stress that experience among individuals are different because it depends on how they interpret the events and the outcomes. There are two distinct forms of cognitive assessment. The first is individual will examine whether the event is positive, harmful, or challenging to the individual. For example, when a person have a positive thinking in completing a difficult task, he or she will feel less stressed than the person with negative thinking. The following distinct form of cognitive assessment is individual will evaluate whether they have the ability or resources to prevent the harm. When the person doesn't have the ability to prevent harm, they will feel more stress. Furthermore, cognitive appraisal theory also explains coping. Coping is how individuals think and act when they are in a stressful environment and how they change when they encounter a stressful situation. This theory assesses coping as contextual. It depends on the individual assessment of the actual situation, demand, and resources that control them. Moreover, no prior assumptions are made about excellent or lousy coping. There are two critical functions of coping, which are emotion-focused coping and problem-focused coping. Emotion-focused coping is to regulate stressful emotions, and problem-focused coping is to neutralize the person in a stress-causing situations. Next, I will continue with the academic stress, which under 2.2 literature review. According to Kumar and Jordan 2008, academic stress is an education-related anxiety. It is the root cause of stress for young people. Moreover, Bernstein 2008 mentioned that stress is a negative behavioral, cognitive, emotional, and physiological processes. Also, stress is an adverse reactions that caused by encountering tensions or burden. Furthermore, according to Adhi and Onaka 2019, academic stress is an unpleasant situation by requirements of people in the form of assessment, keeping a healthy academic life, rivalries with peers, and live up with parents, self, and teacher academic expectation. Sam Mohammadi 2011 said that academic stress raised from examinations, complexities of materials, and number of assignments. According to Duane and Charming 2000, academic stress is a factor that affecting academic achievement. Also, development problems and physical violence were caused by high academic stress, like for example, depression, self-harm activities, suicide, cheating, abuse, and many more. Next, I will talk about the academic self-efficacy. According to Bandura 1986, self-efficacy as a person who can reach desired outcome based on their capability. Jaja Kawan 2005 defined academic self-efficacy as student ability to complete academic duties. Moreover, Fela 2009 mentioned that academic self-efficacy as an individual with confidence in performing a particular task. Honicke and Broadbent say that academic self-efficacy are needed to build confidence in meeting academic demands and challenges. Lastly, Chalmers mentions that academic self-efficacy will influence stress. That's all from me. The following presenter, Lee Pei will present the remaining content of Chapter 2. Thank you.
Good morning to our FYP supervisor, Dr. Ng, and second examiners. My name is Lee Pei. Today, I would like to present about procrastination, academic expectation, proposed conceptual framework, and hypothesis development. So now let's begin with procrastination. Procrastination covers all areas of task delay behavior. According to Haycock et al. 1998, procrastination is a type of personal behavior that unable to complete the task in the given time. Effort and Ferrari 1989 also indicated that procrastination is the behavior that an individual intentionally delays decision making. So now please look at the pictures below. The boy is intentionally delaying his work. So this behavior is called procrastination, and procrastination may lead to serious consequences. Next, academic expectation. So what is academic expectation? Academic expectation are the expectations that involve in the education setting. According to Reddy et al. 2018, people have been expecting the student to study hard for a long time. However, people would never think that studying could make the student feel stressed. So, high expectations were given to the undergraduate. Next, academic expectation can be classified into self-expectation, parents or lecturers' expectation. According to Benoit et al. 2014, self-expectations are the student knowledge, inspiration, and affect concerning an academic challenge. Next, Amro et al. 2019 mentioned that parental academic expectation is how far the parents have confidence in their children's abilities in education. In other words, parental academic expectations are parents' hope or strong belief that their children should do well in their academic life. In contrast, Good 1987 stated that teachers' expectations refer to their interference that teachers make about their student expected behavior and their academic performance based on their student knowledge. So, teacher expectations are the teachers' developed expectations on their student on how far the student could achieve in the academic performance. Next, now look at the proposed conceptual framework. This research is to determine the correlation between academic stress, academic self-efficacy, procrastination, and academic expectations among the undergraduate in a private university in Malaysia. So, the independent variables are procrastination, academic self-efficacy, academic expectations, while the dependent variables are academic stress. So now let's move on to the next slide, which is hypothesis development. The conceptual framework enabled this study to create a hypothesis and evaluate the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable. So now look at the next slide. Academic self-efficacy and academic stress. According to Jajakowa 2005, academic self-efficacy and academic stress were closely related concepts. Ramani 2015 claimed that when there is a lower academic self-efficacy, this would lead to high academic stress. Many research show that there is a negative correlation between academic self-efficacy and academic stress among the university students. For example, Hackett et al. 1992, Muyadi et al. 2016, Ramati 2015, Jajakowa et al. 2005. So, when there's a higher academic self-efficacy, there's a lower academic stress. Therefore, this research has come up with the first hypothesis where academic self-efficacy has a significant influence on academic stress among the undergraduate students. Continue with the next slide. Procrastination and academic stress. According to Hussain and Sultan 2010, there are many reasons that can cause procrastination, such as overconfidence, laziness, or mental negative attitude. So, Hussain and Sultan 2010, Sharapska and Jakunkowa 2018 also provided that empirical support that procrastination and academic stress has a positive relationship. Furthermore, Ongi Buji 2004 also showed that existence of a correlation between procrastination and academic stress. Next, Nair 2017 and Rabin et al. 2011 also indicated that procrastination was among behavior primary causes of the academic stress. Students who procrastinate their work would eventually lead to the rise of academic stress. So, when there's a higher procrastination, there is a higher academic stress. Hence, they come up with the second hypothesis where procrastination has a significant influence on academic stress. Next, academic expectation and academic stress. According to Ang and Huan 2006, most prominent of the determinants of academic stress in Asian context are academic expectation. So, Ang and Huan 2006, Kalagwas 2012, Kumar and Jordan 2018 claim that academic expectation and academic stress have a positive correlation among undergraduates. So, when there's a higher academic expectation, there's a higher academic stress. Now, move on to the next slide. Academic self-expectation and academic stress among undergraduate students. Nguyen 2015 mentioned that Asian students would study hard and set high self-academic expectation because they recognize that academic failure will directly reflect poorly on themselves or their parents. So, Sun 2012 also claimed that Singapore Chinese youth also facing a higher academic stress. This is due to self-academic expectation. Hence, the hypothesis 3A came out where expectation of self have a significant influence on academic stress among the undergraduate students. Next, academic parents or lecturers' expectation and academic stress among undergraduate students. According to Reddy et al. 2018, parental expectation proved to be stressful to children when they cannot handle anymore. Crystal et al. 1994, Khan et al. 2014, Khan 2012 claimed that parents always has high expectation and hope their children to get a good grade in their exam. According to Ang and Huan 2006, students are significantly influenced by teachers and will act accordingly to the teacher expectation. Therefore, academic stress occurs when the students are significantly affected by their teacher expectation. Last but not least, Ang and Huan 2006, Chelamutu 2019, Kumar and Jordan 2018, and Sama et al. 2018 concluded that academic stress is directly affected by parental or lecturer expectation. Hence, the hypothesis 3B is came out where expectation of parent or lecturers have a significant influence on academic stress among the undergraduate students. So, the next following chapter will provide explanation about the relationship between the variables by conducting sufficient research method. Thank you.
Hi, good morning to Dr. Ng, our FYP supervisor and our second markers. My name is Yap Chin Wen. I'm happy today to share with you about our chapter 3, which is research methodology, that illustrate how our group collect data, reaching to our target respondent and construct the questionnaire and analyze the data we collect from the respondent. First, I will discuss about research design. Research design is defined as a detailed plan of methods and procedure in designing, measuring, and analyzing data for the researcher to conduct studies. Cross-sectional studies is used in our studies to determine the factors of academic stress among undergraduates in UTAR. Self-administrated questionnaires is applied to collect data from our target respondent. The quantitative data collected are analyzed through statistical methods. Questionnaire is selected in our study is due to it less time consuming, less cost incur, protection of privacy of respondent, easy to modify and can reach target respondent more easier in terms of geographical factors. Data collection methods can be categorized into primary data and secondary data. Primary data are the first-hand resources such as the self-administration questionnaires, survey, experiment and interviews are considered as primary data. Google Form is used to generate the online survey. Online surveys are easy to tabulate and conduct, save costs, easy to modify and administer, and easier to reach target respondent. Next is about sampling design. There is 5 elements consist in the sampling design. The first element is the target population. The target population of our study is the student who currently pursuing their degree course in UTAR located in Sungai Long and Kampar campus. The total population of students in both campuses consists of 80,666 students. The next element is sampling location and sampling frame. The sampling frame of the research is cover all the undergraduate students from all faculties, while the sampling location is Sungai Long campus and Kampar campus of UTAR. Besides, the sampling element also one of the component under sampling design. All the undergraduate students, regardless their year of study and trimester, they will be the target respondent of these studies. There is no restriction on age, gender, races, religion, and nationality. The sampling techniques is defined as each sample is equally likely to be selected. There are 2 categories in sampling technique, which is probability samples and non-probability samples. Non-zero probability sampling methods are used in the research due to the element in the population have no equal opportunity to be selected. Quota sampling is selected in the research and it also defined as the specific quantity of quota is obtained from the specified subgroup from the population. The last component in sampling design is sampling size. Through the analysis, the minimum sample size of our research is 377 respondents and 806 of questionnaires are distributed to the respondent. The reason of increasing the number of distributing the questionnaire is to reduce the possibility of unresponsiveness bias and refusing to complete the survey. Nevertheless, the last part of my presentation will discuss about research instrument. There is 2 components in the research instrument, which is questionnaire design and pilot study. For questionnaire design, we have divided our questionnaire into section A and section B. Closed-ended questions are also used in the whole survey questionnaires. Linked skills was also applied in section B to determine the degree of agreement or disagreement of the respondent based on their own experience. Besides, pilot study is conducted in a smaller scale to planning and modification in the main studies. Validity test is conducted to determine the questionnaire whether can represent the selected population. We also can identify the error and avoid vague questions through the test. 30 students from UTAR are chosen for the pilot studies. Expert judgments also used for our questionnaires to determine the validity of the test content. For instance, our questionnaires are handed into the academic staff for the specific field for our study to check and comment on the survey. Based on the reliability test of our pilot study, as you can see on table 3.3, all the variables of our studies is considered as reliable as it results in more than 0.6 for their combust alpha coefficient value. And this is all my part, and I will pass to next presenter, Zihao, to complete chapter 3. Thank you.
Good morning to Dr. Ng and second examiners. My name is Ong Zihao, and now I'm going to continue the presentation of chapter 3. The first is the construct measurement. The researchers' questionnaire were designed by using the items from the other sources. For example, academic self-efficacy is taken from the Zimmerman et al. 1992. The procrastination is from Lay 1986, where academic expectation is from Ang and Huan 2006 and academic stress is from LaCave 2009. Next, data processing. The data processing is a process that generates data from the respondent feedback. The data that generate can let the researchers have more understanding to the respondents' behavior. The data processing have 4 processes, which are data checking, data editing, data coding, and data transcribing. First, data checking. Data checking is a process that to ensure the completeness of the questionnaire. This is because the questionnaire may have some loss of data or inaccurate due to some situations, such as the respondents don't know how to answer certain questions in the questionnaire. Next, data editing. Data editing is aimed to ensure the respondents provide accurate information by correcting the error. If the questionnaire occurs too many errors, it seems that the data is considered as invalid and cannot be used in this research. Next, data coding. Information in questionnaires will be coded into the SPSS software into the number form. And lastly, the data transcribing. After the information is inserted into the software, the data can be used to analyze reports. And the last part is the data analysis. The researchers' data analysis are conducted which are descriptive analysis, reliability analysis, and inferential analysis. First, descriptive analysis. The researchers use frequency distribution to analyze the demographic information of the respondents. Next, reliability analysis. Reliability analysis is aimed to test the consistency of the researchers' questionnaire measurement. The researchers use the combust alpha to measure the reliability. For the next slide, as shown in the table below, the combust alpha values which is above 0.7 is considered as an acceptable combust alpha. In this research, amongst all of the variables, only procrastination have a good reliability, while other 3 variables have a very good reliability on the test. And lastly, inferential analysis. Inferential analysis consists of 2 parts, which the researchers use Pearson correlation coefficient and multiple regression analysis to do the inferential analysis. First, Pearson correlation coefficient. Pearson correlation coefficient is aimed to measure the association strength between the 2 variables. The correlation coefficient value is between -1 to +1. For example, if the result of the correlation coefficient value shows 0, it indicates that there is no association between these 2 variables. However, if it shows a positive value, it shows that the 2 variables have positive relationship between each other. Next, multiple regression analysis. Multiple regression analysis is aimed to test whether dependent variable can be predicted by the independent variable. The researchers will use several independent variables to test in the same time. In other words, the researchers test that which of the independent variable can mostly influence the dependent variable. The researchers will test with using the beta coefficient value. For example, the more the beta coefficient value, the more the independent variable can influence the dependent variable. That's all for our presentation. Thank you.